Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Edina. I'm Sam Thompson and I'm proud to be your 66th president. We're coming to you live from the Edina Country Club and also on Zoom. We have 40 people that have pre-registered live and 26 are with us on Zoom today.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the Edina Girls High School Hockey Team. Class 2A champs. They beat Andover 2-1 last Saturday night. It's their fourth state title in the last 5 years. That's simply amazing. We have a full schedule, so I'm going to go right into member updates. We had 2 members this last week that were interviewed by Dave Schwartz with Care 11 TV. It's Jennifer Hendrickson, our public image director, and Julie Westbrock, our new member. And I know Julie's here over on, I believe, yep, in the back over there. Both are with Parkinson's Foundation, and they have a story about raising funds and awareness. It's a 4-minute video that I'd like to share with you.
Well, it is National Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month, and we are doing By Dave's Ties, as we always do. So I'm so glad to have Julie Westbrock and Jennifer Hendrickson from Parkinson's Foundation, Minnesota's chapter, to chat with me today about this month. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Dave.
Well, let's first start out and talk to me about what Parkinson's Foundation does and how it helps people in the community who are suffering with this.
Yeah, so the Parkinson's Foundation serves our local community as well as nationally to help those affected by Parkinson's, be it the person living with Parkinson's, their caregiver, or anyone who's there to support them. So we're making sure that they have the resources, education, and support that they need.
And we're going to raise some money this month. We love it. I love doing this. Tell people where the money goes, how it helps people out in our community.
Yes, so the money goes to education. For example, we have a spring symposium on April 16th. We have a spring symposium on April 16th, and it will be a virtual event. We're anticipating over 400 people in attendance. We have events such as our moving day on May 1st that we bring people together to create community events. We offer a care partner support event that'll launch shortly and go through April, because April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. And so we offer research as well. There's research done across the nation, which gets us one step closer to a cure.
Julie, one of the things that strikes me every year is that Parkinson's disease is no longer just a disease for older people. There's younger people suffering, and it affects families too. How have you seen families deal with these tough times like this?
Well, I can talk about that personally. My mom was diagnosed in her 50s. And so she's been living with Parkinson's for, I think, 17 years. And for my family, it was something we didn't really talk about. And for someone like my mom, who she actually did not tell anybody but my dad for 5 years. So to carry that secret, I can only imagine it had to have been very lonely and very isolating. So I think now just the amount of awareness that is out there is helping a lot of other families to deal with the disease, because it really is a family disease. There are a lot of family members that have to help take care of someone with Parkinson's.
And there's a community aspect to the foundation as well. When your mom was able to meet other people who were like her dealing with this, does that help?
Yes, absolutely. I joined the board 4 years ago. And once I did, our family really started talking more about the disease. And once we started a moving day team, we were pretty overwhelmed with the amount of support that my mom received. Over the last couple of years, our team has raised over $20,000, which has been amazing for the foundation, but really amazing for my mom to see that kind of support.
And Jennifer, you have a fun event also going on this year. We're not just doing By Dave's Ties, and we're going to sell a lot of ties, and we're going to hopefully make a lot of money for the foundation. And thanks to Hammermaid, of course, because they helped me out with this. But you have a fun event going on that's starting today.
Yes, so it's the first of its kind for us. Our local chapter is hosting Playing for Parkinson's. It's an opportunity for video game streamers and those who love board games to play for Parkinson's, raise awareness, and raise funds as well.
Awesome. Thank you both for being here. and for helping me kick off the event. And I look forward to working with you. And as always, let's raise some money for a good cause this month.
Okay, that was a great interview. Ryan, you good? Okay, we have two other members that I wanted to give an update on how they're doing through the COVID. The Berkshire Company, Royce, Pavelka, and Gerry Norton. And Gerry actually started the firm in 2017, and they're reporting that their business is doing really well. They focus on real estate needs for other businesses, site selection, and real estate strategy. And he said one client says Boo's business is booming, and that is Tattersall Distributing. And they're helping them relocate their main production facility to River Falls, Wisconsin. It'll be a destination distillery. And we couldn't do member update without a grandchild update. And this is Becky Michalski's grandson. Becky's our club administrator. And it's her daughter Libby's 2-year-old son, Hendrickson. And as the story goes, as Becky was telling me, she spent over 15 minutes convincing Hendrickson that a nap was in order. He thought banana chips and water was a better option. So I'd like to show you Hendrickson falling asleep while proving his point.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen.
Okay, thank you, Becky, for sharing that. And now Rotary in the news. On May 1st, our district convention, our conference, it's in Brooklyn Park. Our club will pay for the first 20 people that sign up, your registration. You just need to go to rotary5950.org and register, pay with your credit card, and then send your receipt into Becky, and she will reimburse you. At this conference, Tim Murphy will be awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award, and our Edina Rotary Global Scholars Program will be given an award also. And our Lake Street project is doing really well. We've had a lot of volunteers from our club, so thank you so much. We still need electric repair and somebody to review legal docs and contracts. So see Sandy Schley if you can do that. We have 4 birthdays this next week, so happy birthday to the 4 of you. And Rotary Anniversaries. We have 3 anniversaries, so congratulations. And assisting off podium, greeter is Kelly Burnett. Zoom greeter is Lisa Walker. Front desk is Steve Beeker with helping Becky. Photographer Mark Jessen, and AV support is Ryan Wilson. And with that, I'd like to call up Fred to do our invocation and the pledge and 4-way test.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let's begin with our invocation. Thank you, Lord, for the gift of Rotary and for our Rotary family. Bless this food as we nourish our bodies and our minds. May we be ever mindful of those in need, heal the wounds of hatred with our love, unite us together to bring hope to all, bring peace to our community. Amen. Amen. Join me on a pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And on to the 4-way test. For all the things we say and do, first, is it the truth? Set to all concerned, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
All right. Well, I am Mike Tingum. I am one of the newer members here. I just had my 1-year membership anniversary over the past weekend. And I am here today with the opportunity to introduce those joining us for the guests of members today. And we've got 2 of them coming from Paul Peterson. Paul, if you could stand up with your guests. We've got Kelly Peterson. And then we also have Natalie Standridge. So, Paul, if you want to say something about them.
Natalie is the owner of Casa de Corazon, which is a Spanish preschool based here, and then you have many different what do we call them? We call them.
There are 3 corporate stores that she owns, and then 3.
Tell you talk.
So yeah, 3 corporate centers, or you could. And then, go for it. And then 3 franchise locations as well, 2 in Minnesota and 1 in Wisconsin. So still looking to expand through franchising. You started this, what, 18 years ago?
Yep, 2002.
Yep.
Started in South Minneapolis and growing from there.
And this is my daughter, Kelly.
Well, thank you and welcome. And then we have Catherine Gump here with Erica Allenberg. So Catherine, if you could introduce, or is Catherine here? Let's see. No? Well, Erica, are you here? If you could stand up and just introduce yourself real quick.
I just swallowed something, sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Erica Allenberg, I'm chair of the Edina School Board, and I'm just had my interview to become a member this morning. So I'm excited about that.
Grueling.
It was very grueling, Brad, through the ringer. So happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm happy to have you. And then lastly, we have our presenter today, Terri Hudoba. Terri, if you could stand.
We'll be introducing Terri in just a minute to receive a gift.
Perfect, thank you.
I'm honored to introduce Arthur and Molly Rouner, our newest major donors. Go back a long ways with Arthur, from my 2nd grade Bible at Colonial Church to marrying me, baptizing 3 of my boys, and taking me through a lot of ups and downs. He's influenced a lot of people in this world. So what we have for you is, because of COVID, here is a little memorial that goes on the table, and then you each get a pin.
Oh, good.
And Mama Molly would like to say something.
Sure.
I'm told I have 2.5 minutes, and in that time I'm going to give you a quick summary of my economic theory. There, as you all know, we have taxes because there are people who need help. And the people who pay taxes are generally not happy about it. And the people who need help think you should have given more. And everybody ends up grumpy. Rotary gives you an alternative. You give because of kindness, and the receivers receive with gratitude. And the outcome is not grumpiness, but joy. So I just love the way that Rotary has made so many options for you. From the polio thing that was very well thought out, it was a terrific idea and well managed. And on the emotional side, imagine the parents who said, my child has the vaccine. Maybe we understand that better this year. And then on the other side, there's that just emotional reaction that says, I have to do something. Compassion. And little Moses gets whatever it was he needed, I can't remember. But it was important for you. It touched your hearts. And I just encourage you to keep going. We're not big givers, that is big giving something or other. But it took, Arthur's 92, and he joined when he was in his 30s. So we're slow givers, but we keep doing it. So keep on.
All right, hi everyone. So I am here today to tell you about next week's graduation. So it's the first graduation of our Edina Rotary Global Scholars students. This is the inaugural year of the program, and we have 7 students who are graduating. It's designed to be a 3-year program, and these 7 students have done it in 1 year, which is pretty remarkable. During a pandemic, during a really crazy school year of switching schedules. So these are some really amazing 7 individuals. I have up on the slide their focus of what they did for their project. 2 did their project on Guatemala, which is really exciting since we have a connection there with our club. 1 is the daughter of Raj, who's back there, which is also very cool. So next week, Tuesday, is going to be the graduation ceremony, and you are all invited. It is in the morning, so different from our noon, but 7:15 is when doors open, 7:30 is when it starts. I would really love to see all of your faces there to support these 7 individuals and congratulate them. So thank you.
Hey, Lindsey,
Yes.
you mentioned that it's our joint meeting with the Morning Club.
Okay, so this is our joint meeting with Morning Club, and we do this when? Once every?
Every year.
Oh, once a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the spring we do.
Okay.
We go to their club.
Okay, so this is their club. Do we have to register? That was the question.
Yeah.
Yes,
Go
register.
to, yeah. You'll get information.
I'm learning as I'm going to.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Kallas. I am a member of the Local Grants Committee, and we have another installment of giving a gift to one of our grant recipients. I'm happy to introduce to you today Terri Hudoba. She is with the Assistance League, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what the Assistance League does and what they are going to do with their grants. So, Terri?
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Thank you all for inviting me here today, and thank you so much for the grant for Assistance League. Assistance League is a national organization that was founded in 1906 after the San Francisco earthquake. Today, there are 120 chapters across the country. Our chapter here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, will celebrate 25 years this year. Our mission is to feed and clothe children, enhance and enrich education, and support and serve our community. We are an all-volunteer organization. We have nearly 200 dues-paying members who work to raise funds and support our 8 philanthropic programs and conduct all chapter business. In total, we contribute more than 35,000 hours each year. Last year, we touched 29,000 students and their families, and in 25 years, we estimate having reached 181,000 individuals. Some of you may recognize this if you've ever driven by or shopped at our thrift shop in Ridgefield. So the program that you have given us a grant for is called Literacy Plus, and it's designed to encourage a love of reading. In a normal year, we would have 18 volunteers going each week to Bethune Elementary School in North Minneapolis. There they would read one-on-one with the second grade students. The students would receive several books during the year, and there would be special events in the spring. This year, of course, because of COVID, in-person reading was not an option. So our program leaders met with teachers, and they came up with a new plan. Assistance League would provide tote bags with new books and activities to support reading, and they would add books to the school library. Our volunteers sourced the items, packed the bags, and delivered them to the school. For example, the February bag contained books, crayons, stickers, and a word search puzzle. By year end, each student will have received a total of 4 bags. That would be 13 books and related activity items. Assistance League Minneapolis-St. Paul has become known as a nonprofit that listens. We ask our partners what they need rather than telling them what we think is best for them. Going forward, we will continue to be flexible in the delivery of our programs, and your grant will help us to do so. So thank you very much.
Okay, we're ready for our program. And yes, we'll be sending out registration for the joint meeting, for the graduation, like we normally do with all our meetings. And one more announcement quickly, virtual fireside chats are still going on. They go until April 26th. You can go to our website to register. And now I'd like to introduce John Flynn, who will be introducing the program today. John has been a member of our club for over 31 years. He was our president in 2018-2019. And John told me I don't need to say much about him, but did say it's worth noting that he was one of the initiators for our club's meeting photography committee until his skills were surpassed by the likes of Mark Jessen and Rick Carlson. Please welcome up John Flynn.
Thank you, Sam. It's good to see everybody. And you know this, Mark, but it's so true. You know, Mark didn't know he had a camera inside his phone until, what, a year ago? And look at him now. It's really remarkable. And Arthur and Molly, congratulations. You're an inspiration to all of us. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce our program, Mr. John Crudele. John works with people and groups across the country, cultivating both their personal and professional leadership skills. He helps people connect at work, family, and life, and leads them to a life that matters. A few years ago, our Rotary theme was Be the Inspiration. And one of the things that inspires me about Rotary is the people that you get to meet and rub shoulders with on a weekly basis. One of those people is John Crudele. I'm not exactly sure what John's going to tell us today, but I can tell you that outside of his professional life, John is an inspirational Rotarian. John is the immediate past president of his Eden Prairie Rotary Club, and as many of us know, he's been very involved on our own camp enterprise. John has been a mentor and a keynote speaker for years, and the students love his message. Thank you, John, for making Rotary a better place. I can't wait to hear what John has to say about how we can make a difference. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to John Crudele.
It is a pleasure and a privilege to get a chance to be with you. If you've known me or seen me speak before, typically I'm someone who's walking. We're limited by this and everything that goes with it, yet not limited by the goodness and the grace that's a part of your club. I've been a part of the Eden Prairie Morning Club since 2008-9 or so, but it was upon an invitation by Jody Kern that led to when Tom Wininger, bless him, good friend, speaking colleague of years, became a deacon, and as you know, he just passed, members of Rotary, and he couldn't make a speech for Camp Enterprise. And that led to somebody reaching out to me to take his place. And from that taking the place, Jody Kern reached out and said, by the way, there's that 3-day mentorship opportunity. And you say yes to things for 1 year. Like with Dan, with Hallberg, you know, hey, John, just get on the ethics committee for just, it's a 1-year thing. And then I became the MC for all these years until death do us part is typically how this works. And the piece is so much that happened was it was at Camp E that I met Sam. It was at Camp E that I met our dear friend Tim Murphy. It was at Camp E that I met Tom Gump from the Morning Club. It was at Camp E that I met Hein. It was at Camp E that I met so many of the people that are here that are striving to make this difference. And it'll be part of my message today. So I think of any club in the cities that's helped me see the world, that in a way I could just do a whole program on your club. You know, to see Natalie here and to hear her story and to see what you're giving to is so beautiful. You are truly difference makers. And when I look through my prep notebook for my year as president, I met with about 44 people, members of my club and others, taking notes. It's alphabetical in any conversation I had. Other members that are in this book, Sana Sato, Lloyd Campbell, John Flynn, Tom Gump, Mark Hegstrom, Russ Mucklitz, Tim Murphy several times, Gene Morrison, who helped me through some HR, and Josh Sprague, who was my wingman and president, and we met We actually drove to Pets together because I just landed from the Philippines, and then meeting Shelley through this and through, it just goes on and on. It was Ann Platt that introduced me to. So it's just so special. So in the next, hour and a half, as we have a chance to visit and share, I hope you laugh. My motto is just speak till everyone's gone. You saw Hendricks there. Please don't use that as a sublim on how to take a nap. I know he was fighting it, but together, let's enjoy our time together. Arthur Rouner, Pastor, it's always good to see you. And the ethics luncheon, when you offer the invocation, it's a tender reminder. DeWitt Jones says, the sunset is beautiful. The sunset is beautiful, and if you miss the sunset, it's not the sunset's fault. The sunset is beautiful, and if you miss the sunset, it's not the sunset's fault. It's how the sunset comes to you. The banquet is set, though few will attend. What you say about the sunset is based on how you come to the sunset, not how the sunset comes from you. A cloudy night last night, the sunset was still there, though we missed it because of the clouds. You rise above the clouds, you get to see the sunset. Many of us have lenses that filter out the fullness of what's there. We just got a message from Molly about the difference between taxation and grumpiness and giving and the kindness and the gratitude, which leads to joy. Because of a new way, a different lens, limiting beliefs that were dropped, how one comes to the causes, the situations, the friendships, the relationships in your life. You remember the day that you discovered your mom and dad's voice was coming out of your mouth and you couldn't stop it? How about the day you discovered you became one of your parents and you married the other one? Which is great if they're not nuts. Which child do you have the hardest time with in your family? Let me suggest it's the one that reminds you the most about what you haven't accepted in yourself. And if you can fix that person, possibly you wouldn't have to face yourself. But if you could face yourself, you could celebrate the tension that's in this relationship, inclusivity, inviting us to get out of our echo chambers. Possibly God placed this child in your life because there was no one else on the planet that you could possibly love enough to face yourself for. Would you run into a burning building? Probably not. Why? You'd experience something called fear. What if your child was in the building? You'd run in. How come? Who are you no longer focused on? Yourself. Who are you focused on? The child. What's the core piece? The relationship. The fear went away. So if we're experiencing fear, who are we focused on? And if we're looking for kindness, gratitude, possibility, and joy, we're looking at what we can give to suspend. How about if your spouse was in the burning building? Let's follow my voice. Stop, drop, roll. The love of choice different than the love of co-creation. So how do we come to the sunset? My invitation today is, how do you come to this message? And if we can just be with each other in this message today, let's see what might fill you as we fill each other together. Last year, 2 years ago, I had a chance to be with Josh and some of the people at this table, Shelley and others, as we were in Guatemala to deliver some water filters. And there we were, again, and I could do a presentation on each of these people. My favorite pictures were John Burnett, because of the joy that was in his eyes. But you can look through people in your club and say, what is Rotary to the world? What is it that you're a part of? Difference makers. I want to make a difference doing something that makes a difference with people that make a difference at a time that makes a difference. Sam asked me to speak for the charter night with Nash and with your Rotaract Club, and had spoken for them as they were getting going as well. And something that's in my heart is kids. I always enjoy kids. This is from a 5th grader. Dear John, I really like you. You're real cool. I think you could change many people's minds about taking drugs. We all think your story about Mary is real sad. Our teacher, Miss Gibbs, thinks you're real cute. I don't know her telephone number, but I do know she lives in St. Paul. Thanks a lot, Bridget. I like Bridget. She wants to give me her teacher as a gift. She understands kindness and giving. This is from Matt. Matt's in the 3rd grade. He writes, "Dear Mr. Crudele, your story about your dad touched me. It got me thinking, and that's something I don't do much of." Children, what's your story? Everybody has one. Our why determines our way. Our purpose determines our path. Our destination determines our decisions. And then for me, campy. I think this is the year I missed because I was at another program, and John Flynn probably photoshopped himself somewhere into this picture. But my memory of campy is 2012, 2015, 2017, and there's pictures in between from that first time on. And one of the touch points for me, as John mentioned, the essays that the young people write. Here's 3 years worth. But one of the most important notes inside the essay are the thank you notes from Jody Kern. Because of how the appreciation and how we receive show gratitude, as Molly said, because of kindness that leads to joy. We're difference makers. When we live intentionally, we make a difference. What's your story? And for me, back in 2008, before I was a Rotarian, 5960, St. Paul Club asked me to speak at Camp Ryla. And I've done the Sunday night presentation every year since until last year. I think it's 11 or 12 times. And it can't be, you may have heard me for 55 minutes. We do 2 hours there, which includes a 45-minute share session where the kids come up and share something about their life. And then we ask, what's the tug in your spirit? Respond in that way, and it's always a group hug. There's possibly somebody that's suicidal in the center of this group hug. There's somebody that's a cutter that's in the center of this group hug. There's somebody that's being abused at home or part of gang violence in the center of this group hug. And when they open up, they go back to their family groups to do their case study, and now nothing is off limits because of how they gave and received each other. Whatever Rotary may mean to the world, it's known to us by what we actually achieve. It's based on the results that we have. And this is where I first saw difference makers on somebody's website preparing to speak for their club. So let's take this trip together as we share. I want to make a difference doing something that makes a difference at a time that makes a difference with people that make a difference at a time that makes a difference. John Maxwell, Intentional Living, Choosing a Life That Matters. David McNally says the most positive motivational force in the world is a cause. And by the way, you all have a handout and this is in it. It's been emailed to you, so at some point we can circle back to that or you can look for it later. I really like this line, and it's been evolving for me because the most motivational force in the world is a cause, and yet we say here on the handout that your why determines your way. What's the why? And I was reading just recently, and I just wanted to share a passage with you. This comes out of Change Your World, and it's a quote by Simon Sinek, many of which you might be familiar with, where he says, values and principles that guide your decisions, behaviors. When those values are good, they bring only benefit, never harm. But he goes on to say the difference between a why and a cause is this. And I think this just centers for what Rotary is and what Rotary means to me in the core of difference makers. He said he does in the book, The Infinite Game, Simon says he discusses the difference between a just cause and a person's why. Because he says that a just cause is the specific vision of a future state that does not yet exist. When Josh was down in Guatemala and when we saw and with Shelley and Tim Murph was there and others and they saw the pediatric hospital, we were just walking through and that's when Josh got the idea about pediatric beds. Because there's 3 kids to all these beds. We were there to do water filters. We happened to take a day trip over here because of the water tower that was a couple years earlier that your club had been involved with, the dedication. Yet he saw something. And probably pediatric beds might not be a part of his why. Water filters might not be a part of his why. But a just cause that's bigger than him pulls him forward. Shelley gets involved, pulls her forward. You get involved as a club in your support. It doesn't have to fit within your why that determines your way, but it's a just cause. Here's how Simon Sinek explains it, and it's so clear. It's a future state that does not exist, but it's so appealing that people are willing to make sacrifices in order to help advance this vision. He says the why comes from the past. It's an origin story. It's a statement of who we are. The sum total of our values and beliefs. A just cause is about the future. It defines where we're going. It describes a world we hope to live in. That's what Rotary is. And we commit to help it build. Everybody has their own why, and everyone can know what their why is if they choose to uncover it, but we do not have to have our own just cause. We can choose to join someone else's. Indeed, like Joss, like many of you, Dan with the ethics luncheon, each of you, we can indeed start a movement, or we can choose to join one and make it our own. The most positive motivational force in the world is a cause. I'd like to suggest it's a just cause. So you can cross over into causes that you might not know yet about and find out that you may fall in love with something that when you took the lenses off, you could see the fullness of the banquet that was set in the sunset that is coming to you. And then who do you become when you become slow givers like our friends here and continue to become the most authentic version of yourself? And in my club, Carol Bombin, in my book here for Coffee Wisdom, I love being a bridge. We need to keep asking what gives us the satisfaction to continue to do more. Service is about we all live together. So how do we live together? Let's look at the bridge. My sense, as I just caught Natalie's eyes for a moment, is that there's a bridge in her Montessori within her learning. There's a bridge in the friendship that's here. There's a bridge between the father that's empowering, and there's this bridge that's taking place. This is in the Philippines. This is in Katarman. This is in North Samar. And I work with Risen Savior Missions here locally that distributes Feed My Starving Children meals. You're familiar with Feed My Starving Children meals, but they need other groups to distribute them. In the group that we're working with, I've been 53 days in the Philippines on 3 trips. The night before Pets, I got home and Josh drove me to Pets in Ames because I was, it's a 12-hour difference. My life was upside down. So here we are going to cross the bridge. And Gerry says, hey, John, Rotary opens opportunities and it connects the world. Our year was connects the world. Opens opportunities is this year. So what's the opportunity? Let's unpack this metaphor. As you look at the bridge, Gerry said, John, we can take the boat anytime, but you gotta at least cross the bridge once. That's the bridge. Who sees the holes? Who sees the mesh? Where do your eyes always go? Where your life always goes in the directions that you're looking. If you're on a bike and a car is ready to hit you, they teach you in bike safety, do not look at the car that's ready to hit you, because a bike or a motorcycle will always go in the direction of your eyes. Take a look at the direction you want to go, because you will always follow your eyes. If we look into our fear, we will tend to attract it and recreate it. And you'll see the difference between me and some of the others as we go across this here. So you go, why cross the bridge? This is the cause. The why determines your way, but it's always in your cause that gives you reason to be pulled. The pull of the future becomes greater than the tug of the past. And Gerry gets out there at 80 years old, 16 years with Risen Savior Missions. He founded it when he retired because he wanted his family to appreciate and find joy. He said, let's start a little family ministry. And out of that, they've shipped to date 120 million meals to the Philippines, feeding about 150,000 children a year. $12 million last year because Feed My Starving Children reduced to 72%, but $18 million was the goal. Out of a townhouse, as a founder, no pay. Now he's 80. He says, "Come on, John," and the little kid in him starts to come out. And I'm going, "You're 80." Okay. He puts a rag on his hand so he doesn't get tetanus. And he scampers out on the bridge. "John," and he turns around and he says, "Watch out for the holes." That's what he said right when I took that picture. And then behind me is MM with her brother with the Feed My Starving Children meals that we're planning to deliver to people on the other side of this bridge. And then the kids are running past me. Look at their shoes. They're flip-flops. They sprint across this bridge in flip-flops, which says it's possible. There's no fear in their eyes. They're going, "What are you doing? You're holding us up. You're so slow." "I'm a slow giver. I'm a slow walker. I'm a slow bridge crosser, Molly." And so then you get to the hole. And it's 50 feet to the water. And it gets personal. And you ask the question, why cross? Josh says, "Hey, you want to go to Guatemala again on the 15th? Why cross?" It gets personal. And then I see Sister Mary Vick, who's like a little Mother Teresa. In the Philippines, they call the nuns mom. Social workers deliver something. Moms come in relationship. The difference between social work and a mother relationship. So they call the nuns there, they call them mom because of the relationship of love. The difference between values and virtue is love, is values delivered through the lens of love is how I define it. And she gets to a place where the mesh does not go across at all. That's the hole that's in front of us. And I go, how is Sister Mary Vick going to navigate this? What would you do? She's wearing flip-flops. Keep your eyes on the flip-flops. What's your memory of the sisters growing up? This was not mine. And so I got to it. This speech is titled Difference Makers. It could be titled Be Where Your Feet Are. COVID changed our lives, and if we looked at the fantasy of what we would have liked our life to become or be because of what was taken away, we would be depressed. But if we could be where our feet are in the moment, we would be present in the present because of what's on the other side. It's always about who's on the other side. With the Manapack or Mac, when I have a chance to feed a boy that would have starved to death without somebody, you may have packed the meal that he's eating right now. Or you squat down into Seco, which is a slum, built on top of a garbage dump, the water coming up through, and you get a hug. Or they want to be in a picture, or in Negros, where they were starving 8 years ago, now they're happy and dancing. And this is what happens when you close the van door. You look out, and the last look you get is this picture here. And what's coming up for your club 5 weeks from now? Josh and what he saw on the left with giving the flag as president, coming in, and what we walked by with the children and your club's generosity. What's the cause for you on the other side of the bridge? I believed that we needed to cross the bridge. Yet in doing this, another title for today could be the Bridge. And notice that bridges have holes in them just like we do. Are you focused on the holes? Or together as a club, together as colleagues and friends, together on the causes that matter most, together, if we're not, we suspend the judgment of the holes, we suspend the judgment of our lackings and collectively look at what we each bring, it's always enough. So let's say what leads to intentional giving in the few minutes that I have left. This is all in a handout. I'm going to go through it quickly. And you have a copy of it that's already been emailed to you. 3 connecting questions. Do you care for me? Can you help me? Can I trust you? People want to feel listened to, they want to feel taken seriously, and they want to feel significant in all the relationships that we're in. When we can look through these 6 lenses, relationships improve, connections deepen. So the concept is it begins when another person feels valued. What can I do to increase my value to others? Build an action plan to create daily habits to increase the value to others. Words of good intention are words such as desire and wish and someday and fantasy. Words of intentional living move to action, purpose, today. Strategy, a life that matters is results, fulfillment, everyday follow through. And so you'll see this when you open the handout that desire moves to results, but you can say intentional living is action, yet a life that matters is results. So we're looking at the results, and if we can start intentionally focusing on the results, we will move back to starting to reframe within us the emotions that will connect with it, some of them being limiting beliefs that might be holding us back. So we do it afraid. Everything is hard until it's not. And so a wish becomes fulfillment, and a fantasy becomes follow-through. Josh is tenacious on follow-through. Each of you to look at Sam and how his prep for the program with Don getting ready. I've spoken at a lot of clubs. This is unique, and it's to be celebrated. A couple pictures for you. I could do an hour on each one, but I wanted to give you something to frame it. The difference between intentional and accidental in the circles of your life. Take some time to reflect on this in your quiet time. And through the lens of the leader mirror of asking, what's it like to be on the other side of you? What's it like to be on the other side of me? Versus saying that person needs to change. The victim mentality is if everybody changes, I'll be comfortable. The responsible mentality is that, you know what? Being offended is a personal choice. Because other people get to be themselves, and we'll never change all the other people and all the other situations. So we can say, what's it like to be on the other side of me? Look through the lens of proactive, intentional, and consistent, and then this is what pulls out our responsibility called the core process of call it, own it, respond, and execute. You need to know yourself to lead yourself. What is my learning opportunity right now? It's the invitation into the only thing that you can control, which is ultimately yourself and your own choices of being intentional and seeing how that starts to influence the people around you. And so when you look at the groups that you have and the organizations that you have, and boy, I sure had this fantasy of what it was going to be like to be a president of a Rotary Club when I went at the beginning of my year, and at the end of the year, Josh and I were saying, who's the last Rotarian standing? And it was me, because my last meeting was the last day of the month based on the way the calendar worked, and we did 14 Zoom meetings. But to protect a culture of entitlement is low challenge and high support. A culture of abdicate is a culture of apathy and low expectation. A culture of dominate. This is where a lot of people come into a place where they say they want to lead, but really they just want to have the position so they can dominate, and they come from a place of control. That one blindsided me when I got to be president of a Rotary. In some of the people in protecting their places. So what is leadership? High support, high challenge to liberate. We liberate people, we empower people. It's a culture of empowerment and opportunity. So we fight for the highest possible good of others. What does that mean? It means what specific support and challenge do they need? What role do we want them to play in our lives? Are we clear on the expectation? What is the tendency or the pattern that is undermining influence with others, and how can I help them get to the next level? This is the story I'll leave you with. Greg Ulbrich. Greg was in my club, and he is a coach for running. And I said, I'll run a 5K. I've never run. I run when people chase me. So the Randy's run around Purgatory Creek the night before, he said, what time's the race in the morning? I said, it's 9 a.m. He said, I'll run it with you. He had done 93 marathons, 200 triathlons. He said, easy peasy, you run your own race, I'll run alongside of you. And here we are crossing the finish line. Notice how he's breathing and how I'm breathing. He's a half step behind me saying, finish strong, finish strong, finish strong. That's what we are to each other as difference makers. Because as difference makers, Rotary opens opportunities and connects the world. The connection is deepened by how we are present in the moment to each other, to light the pathway of possibility and purpose, to be the bridge to causes that matter most. So let's be the bridge. Be where your feet are. And let's continue to be difference makers. Thank you. It's been a pleasure sharing with you.
John, we want to thank you for being here today. I think that all of us are part of Rotary because we want to be difference makers. But I think we can all agree that sometimes we need someone to root for us and to remind us of why we're doing what we're doing. So thank you for being here today and reminding us of that. Because from literacy to peace to water and health, Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million difference makers who unite to take action to create lasting change to better our world. In honor of your presentation today, we will make a donation to Every Meal, an organization focused on providing weekend and other food gap programs to over 10,000 children in the Twin Cities metro area. John, thanks for being here today.
It's okay. I can do it. Thanks, John. That was great. Josh, is there any room on the Guatemala trip, or is that sold out? All sold out. Okay. And the handouts that John's talking about, they came out with when you registered for this meeting. So we'll put them up. We'll put a link on the website for you to get them if you missed that. And a reminder that next week's meeting will be our joint meeting with the Morning Club. So we're coming here. It starts at 7:30. We're not meeting next Thursday. And that will be our graduation with Rotary Scholars. Yep, in the morning. Tuesday morning, right, Tuesday morning, you got it. And looking ahead, we've got our fireside chats that are going on. We have our leadership series on April 20th, that's Paul Moody. And we have our vocational happy hour, which will be on May 5th, and that's Lindsey Smaka will be giving that, so yay, Lindsey. So I'd like to thank all of you for attending live and on Zoom. And Arthur and Molly, thank you so much. And thank you, John. And I'd like to leave you with a quote. This is a changing world. We must be prepared to change with it. The story of Rotary will have to be written again and again. Paul Harris, This Rotarian Age, circa 1935. Meeting adjourned.